What do you think is the problem with the way the world works right now?
So short answer is it's centered around post-war institutions that are ending. And we're going to need to figure out what comes after that. And I think what comes after that is China versus the internet. And let me explain in a little more detail. So at the beginning of the 20th century, Europe was the center of the world. And the US and Russia were considered sort of quasi-barbarian things that were on the outskirts of Europe, like geographically, but also culturally and so on and so forth. They had these large expanses. You know, they were not as cultured as Europe, right? And then what happened was these things had such a growth rate in many senses of the term that by the mid-20th century, so there's a famous quote, let me show you this, by Alexis de Tocqueville. Let me show you this guy. And so this is from 1835.
Okay. Yeah.
So there are at the present time two great nations in the world which start from different points but seem to tend towards the same end. I allude to the Russians and the Americans. Both of them have grown up unnoticed, and whilst the attention of mankind was directed elsewhere, they have suddenly placed themselves in the front rank among the nations, and the world learned their existence and their greatness at almost the same time, right? So 100 years before the Cold War, he said, all other nations seem to have reached their natural limits, and they have only to maintain their power. And then he basically says towards the end, the principal instrument of the former is freedom, of the latter servitude. Their starting point is different, and their course are not the same, yet each of them seems marked out by the will of heaven to sway the destinies of half the globe. 110 years before the Cold War, right? Why is that? Because he was almost like an angel investor, projecting growth rates out. And he saw these populations were increasing, these were just giant countries, and other things were happening, they were building things and so on. Okay, what's the point?